Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I got a few questions and I wish to answer quickly in regard to Islam. So, first question is how do we know that Allah or that the universe has a creator? To answer this question, let's think about the universe. Universe itself is dynamic, it's moving, and because it is moving, and according to the second law of thermodynamics, which is part of physics, anything that has motion has movement, and must have a beginning, something initiated, a cause. So we know that the universe is not eternal. It was made, it was started by something. So let's see what could have started this universe. It could be, let's go through the possibilities. So it could be the universe itself created itself, or part of the universe generated the rest of the universe, or it could be something outside of the universe that's not intelligent and not wise that started the universe, the process, something like randomness, or it could be Allah, could be a creator, could be the creator of this universe. We will leave the last one. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to explore all the possibilities. And if you can think of something else, let me know, please. If it is the universe that created itself, that's totally rejected rationale. Why? Because the universe cannot be non-existent and then make itself to exist. That's contradiction, and logically you can rule out this as a possible cause for this universe. Second possibility, that some or part of the universe created the rest of the universe. Again, illogical explanation or cause for the existence of the universe. Why? Because where's the difference going to come from? It's the same case as the first one. There's nothing. If there is shortage of the difference, then it cannot be created from none. So again, the second possibility for a cause, which is part of the universe, is illogical. Let's move to the third, which is basically outside of the universe, something dumb, as in the process of randomness that caused this universe to exist. Well, let's put it into a test. Let's make an experiment. If I give you a box and I tell you it has an engine, a car engine parts, and I ask you to shake it very well and throw it up in the air, and I want it to come into a shape like a triangle. And let's see how can you do this. Again, I'm trying to mimic or make something close to the universe in a lab. Universe is a system, so I want it in the ordered fashion. So I want it to come down in a triangular shape. Let's say you did it millions of times, and you were able to make it land into a triangular shape. Okay. Well, second thing, I want it to be a system, basically like the universe, like your body. Your body has different systems that's working together. You have the circular system, you have the nerve systems, you have reproductive system. You have all those different subsystems that's working together to create a big system called the human body. And again, this human body is part of another bigger picture called the ecosystem and so forth. So I want you to shake your box very well and make randomness in this instance to create for us a engine, a motor. I want it to land, the parts land, assembled with nuts and bolts tied up, and pieces right together, and pistons, and all this assembled. I want it and hoses are fixed. Everything is set for a true engine. What's the possibility? If you say none, well, for sake of argument, I will say yes. Let's say after undefined number of trials, you maybe can do that. Well, but the universe also is a moving, evolving universe. So I want it dynamic. So I want you to shake your box very well, throw it up in the air, and let it land as an assembled engine that's running, that's in action. What is the possibility of this happening? You're probably going to answer, say, well, it's close to zero. Well, let's say that you can do that. That's already, fourth impossible. But what if I lied to you and I told you that what's in the box was not a motor or engine parts? I just gave you flour, butter, eggs, milk, and asked you to produce a car engine. Now it's impossible. So even for the randomness to work, which we're proving that's very, very unlikely that it will work, for it to work, you need an external entity, which in this case is me giving you this box, and setting up all the environment for this process to work. So that's another cause or possible reason for this universe to exist that we have proven logically it cannot be it. What's left? What's left is the fourth possible reason for this universe to exist, which is an external source, an entity called Allah that's wise and all-knowing, that produced this universe. And by the way, this is the logical translation for the La ilaha illallah, no God except Allah. You negate all possibilities, La ilaha, no God, and then you make an exception, illallah, except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Follow-up question. Well, if this is the case, who created Allah? Logical question. The person thinks it's a logical question. Well, let's think about this for a second. The verb create implies an order. So there is a state of non-existing, or something did not get created, and then it got created. So there's before and after. Before and after are relationships in time. So basically, before and after are things that's bound by time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we mentioned, is outside of the universe, and time and space is part of this universe. So, and he's outside of that, so he's not bound by before and after. So the answer to the question, who created Allah, it's a wrong question. It's not a property of Allah to be bound by time, and the verb create implies that this boundary. So you're asking the wrong question. To give an example, if I ask you how many days did you survive under the water with no oxygen, can any human survive with no oxygen for days? No, that's a wrong question. Another follow-up question was, why does God need worship? Basically, the person asked me, well, if you worship Allah, He will put you in heaven, reward you basically, and if you don't worship Allah, He will punish you and put you into hellfire. Well, He must need this worship, otherwise He will not be upset and mad about you not worshiping, and happy when you and pleased that you did worship Him and put you in heaven. And if He needs this, then He's not a God, because God doesn't need anything. Well, to answer this question, the reason for us to be created in this universe was not to just worship. No, worship is the means to an end. The end is to be in heaven. So Allah created us in this universe to go to heaven. And the means to go to heaven is to worship. And that's why He was keen to order us on, worshiping Him. So who needs worship? It's not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's us who need worship to get to our final destination that He wants us to be in it. That's why He's pleased when we worship, because now His will for us to go to heaven is achieved. Another interesting question is like, why did Allah create evil? Why did Allah create all this bad things? If Allah is this all good, why did He create, shaitan and Satan and all these bad things around us? Well, don't forget, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He created us, He already put us into heaven. Adam and Eve, when they were created, they were in heaven. But what did they do? They disobeyed. Why? Because they don't know better. They needed to be trained. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked them or ordered them to come down to earth. Unlike the Christian faith statement about Adam and Eve, that they were thrown out of Jannah or heaven because of their sin. No, it's when the time came, they were asked to go down to earth, and Shaitan was the one that asked for us to be tested. With that said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the good and the bad as two choices for us. So we'll get trained in this universe, in this earth, in those earthly bodies, and he will give us the two paths, the right path and the wrong path, in order to follow the right path. This is our test to make sure we are really trained and we will obey when we go, inshallah, to Jannah. So the creation of evil or bad things, yes, it's from Allah, creation for testing. But he never ordered us to do the evil. He told us to not to do it. Why? Because we have a freedom of choice to follow either of the paths. If you have more questions, please pass it to me in your comments, and also please forward the video to somebody that might be useful to him. I'm sure there's a lot of questions out there, and let's try to think together, and hopefully we'll come to a answers that satisfy your mind first and those who are asking the question from outside of the faith. Thank you. Your brother Hani.